Hey, I'm Jake Panisevich, and today I'm going to talk about seated forward folds where your legs are straight and why I don't like to prop up on a blanket or a block. So the most commonly taught seated forward folds, upavistha konasana, wide-legged seated forward fold, paschimottanasana, where your legs are straight out in front of you. These more symmetrical seated forward folds where your legs are straight are very commonly taught. And what tends to happen if you're stronger or tighter is if your hamstrings aren't open enough to get your legs to root down completely, so the knees will tend to lift up. This will tend to pull your pelvis down and you'll slouch the low back. And if you force yourself to come forward with the slouched low back, this will just be a bummer for your low back. Not only that, is you're also not opening up the hamstrings at all. And so what I like to do is place your hands behind your back, root your legs down as straight as they'll go, and create a lift out of your low back. So you're protecting your low back, having the floor for leverage, and the floor as a landmark to straighten your legs down, okay, is really gonna help get your thighs to root into their hip sockets and give you the best lift out of your low back with your pelvis tilted up. Okay, and so far as you don't lift your heels up off the floor, this is not overstretching your legs or hurting your knees. Okay, so far as you keep those knees on the floor, you could root down your legs as straight as they'll go like this, and it's still safe. Okay, what's problematic about propping up in straight-legged forward folds is that it's a little bit challenging to tell exactly when you've pushed your legs too straight. Okay, when your hyperextension is when the top of your shin flows back at a faster rate than the bottom of your shin. And it's tricky to tell exactly where that landmark is, okay, when you're propped up. And then beyond that, it's harder to get your low back to tilt up, your pelvis to tilt up and create a lift out of your low back when you're propped up. All right, so I like to ditch the prop in these seated forward folds where your legs straight. There's always exceptions to these rules. You can't make rules for the exceptional. Okay, if you have certain injuries or particular therapeutic issues you're working on where you might need to prop up, but generally speaking, no prop, and you'll be able to open up your hamstrings way more efficiently and protect your back along the way. There are certain poses that are asymmetrical where your leg is straight, where you do prop up and you don't listen to this rule, like poses where your leg's in ardha virasana, where your pelvis might be tipped up. Okay, if your one hip lifts, you are going to want to prop up under the one hip only, the straight-legged side. Okay, otherwise you've lifted the floor evenly and your pelvis could still be cattywampus or crooked. Okay, and just when you do these poses, it's just important, it's helpful to have a teacher to make sure that you're not overextending the leg. Okay, for these poses like triang, mukha, paschimottanasana here, krounchasana, those sort of poses. And so that's why I don't like to use the prop with seated forward folds where your legs are straight, and give it a shot ditching the prop, working your legs down as straight as they'll go. You use that floor for your advantage and your leverage, and open up your hamstrings, protect your back. And hope this helps. My name is Jake, and I appreciate your time. Namaste.